Welcome to Get Real, How to Live a More Authentic Life, with psychologist and author of over 75 books, Dr. Barry Weinhold. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Get Real, How to Live a More Authentic Life with Dr. Barry Weinhold. My name is Ben Barber. Dr. Weinhold, how are you doing today?
As usual, I'm feeling grateful.
I love it. It's always an amazing way to start every day and to start this podcast. What are you grateful for today?
Well, I'm grateful for having put everything together to do this podcast, for one thing. I think we've got a real winner this time. This whole month is going to be a focus on the new book and some of the activities that I use with my clients. The whole theme of the month is basically how to increase your psychological intelligence, and I'm excited about sharing that.
It's a very important topic, and let's talk about your new book, which is What is Your PsyQ? Increasing Your Psychological Intelligence Through Self-Therapy.
Right. I guess what I'm saying in this book, and I've tried to bring everything that I use with my clients at work and put it into this book for the general public. And so it's a compilation of many years of doing therapy and finding out certain things work and other people ought to know about it. But basically, the subtitle is really the key to the book. It's really, how do you increase your psychological intelligence? And what I find out is that that basically a lot of people don't understand their own psychological process. So their psychological intelligence is fairly low. And so there's a lot in here that will help people have what I call ahas. I say, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that would happen. This morning I was talking to somebody and he said, and I think he's in his 70s now. He said it was only 5 years ago when I connected the dots and realized that what was going on in my life was all based on what happened to me and didn't happen to me when I was a child. And once I understood that, my life began to change. And so that's what this book really promises. I think it will give people information to change their lives. And it's got some unique features, I think, that are probably not in any other book. There are thousands of self-help books. So why would you want to buy this one? Well, that's the sales pitch, I guess. But basically, the unique features of this book, it proposes that there's really nothing wrong with you. First of all, you have to realize that everything that you ever experienced in your life is stored in your body memory. And what happens if you don't complete something earlier on in your life and it's unfinished business, it keeps cycling. It keeps returning to your life until it gets finished. That's the natural learning style of human beings. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. And so I'm hoping that I'll be able to help more people rewire their brain and their nervous system through this process. And there's good research that says that the brain is really highly mutable, Ben, and it's changeable. That's the good news, because if you feel as if, gosh, I'm stuck in this pattern and I can't get out of it, there are ways out of it, and your brain can learn new, what I call neural pathways, mostly from what is in the midbrain, the amygdala, emotional brain, where a lot of our feelings and our emotions and our images actually from early on are stored. And then it connects into the prefrontal cortex, which is the executive brain that helps you make decisions. And so with people who've had a lot of unfinished business in their childhood, have poor connections between the whatever the uh, experience, wherever the experience is stored in their brain, and their prefrontal cortex. So they don't really make good decisions, unfortunately. And so that's something that's important to know, that the brain, your nervous system is highly mutable, highly changeable. With new information, new tools, you can change everything about uh, what you thought you were like and understand what you're really like. Uh, so
That is good. That is good news.
it is. I mean, it basically is uh, the news that we don't hear very often. Is that and people who go to therapy in the traditional model often are told that there is something wrong with them, and then they get a diagnosis that gives them a name for what's wrong with them. And so I don't believe there is anything wrong with people. It's just a matter of their natural learning style and how to operate and understand that style, how to operate with that style to change your life. And I show you how to do that in the book. So it contains everything I've ever learned that has been successful in my life and also with my clients. It also simplifies the whole healing process. I've put together like a 4-step model that I use all the time with my clients, and it's highly successful. It's easy to implement, and I don't even think I would be necessary in the process once people learn it. So I think in the book, I'll show you how to use this 4-step process to basically change your life, change basically the decisions that you make, basically the beliefs you have. A lot of the things that we don't think are changeable are. And so it's also unique in the way that I have a free 200-page online workbook with the book, so that at the end of each chapter in the book, there's a link to a complementary chapter in a online workbook that's on my website, where in that workbook are lots of tools to help you with that item, with that understanding better about that item. Some of them are self quizzes, some of them are writing exercises, some of them are just simply an explanation of what is necessary to know about that item. So that is a huge, hardly any books I've ever read had that opportunity to have a 200-page workbook. It also shows you how to change your beliefs. Now, beliefs are what really control our actions, our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. And if we can know how to change those beliefs, we can really heal trauma and heal the unfinished business we had from our past. So it offers also a new way to access these unconscious memories that are stored in our body memory. And that's important because only about 5% of our memory of everything that's happened to us is accessible at any given time consciously. So that means we're controlled by that other 95% most of the time, or many times. And so it basically is a way of looking at your own psychology in a new way, in a way that is much simpler to understand. And it also helps you. And I will, in one of the episodes in May, I'll specialize that episode. I'll focus on that, on how to change your core beliefs, so that if you had beliefs that you developed, and most of our core beliefs are developed by before the age of 10. Now, if we don't change those beliefs, they still operate in our lives as adults. And maybe they helped us when we were 10, but they probably don't help us as much now. But also, we have more tools to change them now. So that's the good news about that. And then I want to talk a little bit about why I wrote this book. It's a very personal book for me, uh, because I really understand better now than I've ever done what is necessary to help people change and understand why they do what they do. To begin to ask that question of why. Why did I do that? Why did I say that? Why did I feel this way? I mean, and there are simple answers if you know how to access the answers. And that the book will show you how to do that. And there's something in the book for what I call therapy phobic people. I mean, these are people who wouldn't necessarily ever show up in a therapist's office, but they might read a book and they can get enough out of this book that they might even learn how to do their own self therapy. So that's the goal that I really and so I also have this personal desire to share what I've learned that's helped me. I mean, my life is so much better now than it was when I was age 30 or 40 or 50 because of what I've learned about myself. And so once we learn how our psychological processes work, we can change them, we can alter them, we can use them to make our lives whatever we want them to be. And so it offers a tremendous amount of hope. And then I also believe strongly that this is one of the biggest issues we have in our democracy today. We have people who simply vote for people who actually aren't even purporting to do anything that would help the needs of the voter. I mean, they frequently will vote against their own best interests. And in democracy, we need people who can think critically, and we can think critically and vote critically, and vote for their own interests as well. And so, in order to be able to do that, you need to learn more about how you think, feel, and act, and how you make decisions about why you vote for certain people. So the question the book poses is, how high is your IQ, or what is your IQ, your PsyQ? And so what I
How do you how do you even begin to answer that, Dr. Weinhold?
yeah, well, that's a big question, but I've come up with some simple and I think very effective answers to that question. One of them is, and if you put it up on the screen, is a self quiz that's in the book. It says how how to increase your psychological intelligence. There should be another word in there. How to increase your psychological intelligence. And there's 36 items in this self inventory, and you take. And I would encourage you all to download this and take it to be able to understand better about where your psychological intelligence stands right now. This will give you a clear picture of where the gaps are, where the people, where the places are you need to do more work. And I mean, obviously, no one has to do a complete makeover, but there are some parts of your lives that could work better if you knew how. And so this self quiz will tell you what they are. Where are the areas where you still need to work? These 36 items are all items that represent people who have a high psychological intelligence. And you're asked to rate yourself on each item from 1 to 10. 1 would probably mean I don't know much about that. And 10 would be, yeah, I pretty much have mastered that one in my life. I don't have to spend much time with that. So as you go through, you're adding up your scores, and you get a kind of a score at the end about, which gives you a kind of a rough indication of what your psychological intelligence is, how high it is. And then also you have areas where you know you need to work. So when you take the quiz, it's in the first chapter of the book. You would then, and actually it's in the workbook, so you can download it and fill it out separately as a document. And any items that you scored 5 or less out of 10 would be items that I would suggest you start with. Those are the ones that you need some work on. And so there's a chapter for each item. So you would probably just go in and pick the chapters where you scored 5 or less on this inventory. would be where I would suggest you begin in using the book. And so with that kind of help, you have an opportunity to really pinpoint is where do I need to what do I need to do, let's say, to increase my psychological intelligence.
This is
What are the areas where I need to work on?
This is fantastic. So these are so there's a chapter that correlates with each of these 37 questions.
Yes.
So there's a chapter on show up and tell the truth. There's a chapter on taming your shame,
Yeah.
on asking directly for what you want and need, connecting the dots, regulating your emotions.
Right.
I mean, these are I can't wait to personally take this and come back to you and tell you what my score is.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good idea because and then in addition to the description in the book of what does it mean to show up and tell your truth, then there are self quizzes, there's writing exercises, and other things you can do to further increase your intelligence about how to do that. And so every chapter with combined with the workbook gives you the tools you need to change that one item in your life. And so it is a simple kind of direct way to increase your psychological intelligence, and it works quite well to be able to do that. And so it really actually I'm going to talk about several of the items in my future episodes in May, uh, to give you more specific example. I just want to give you an overview in this section, this session of episode of the podcast. But after that, I will dig into some of the specific items and show you how to use uh, the book and the workbook to change those.
This is fantastic. I think this is an incredibly unique book. And it really it over delivers on value, both information wise and practicality, right? The ability to have the 200-page workbook, the ability to have these self-assessments, these self-quizzes. This is really perfect for anybody. It's especially perfect for the therophobic, as you said.
Yeah.
And I think that this is it's really unique and innovative, and it's wonderful. And when is it out now? When will it be released?
Well, it's in its final stages. It could be released maybe next week. I'm waiting for the final file to just publish it, and it's going to be published under Barnes and Noble Press.
Oh, excellent.
So
Excellent.
it may
So
even be available in Barnes and Noble bookstores.
that's amazing. So when as soon as we have that information, those links will be in the description. And of course, you can always get all of the current links on circle.org,
Yeah.
which you can click the link in the description of this podcast to get to circle.org. And also this self-assessment quiz, these 37 questions, this will be in the downloadable files folder with all of the resources that are ever discussed on the show. I'm excited. What do we have in store? You gave us a little bit of it. What do we have in store for the next 3 weeks of May?
Well, next week I'm going to dig into the book more in terms of the structure of the book, how to use the book. Uh, I've developed a four-stage model, which makes it really simple to change anything in your life. And I'm going to share that in the next episode.
Excellent. Well, I'm really excited, and it's a pleasure to be back with you again, Barry. And
Me too.
yes, so thank you guys so much for watching or listening. Check out circle.org. Click the link in the description. And I'm very excited for this is your 77, 78, 77 and 78, 79 and 80.
It's actually my 79th and 80th book. The book will be available in two platforms. There'll be a electronic book, which will probably be cheap, probably $4.99, and then a paperback book. If you want to hold the book in your hand, you have a choice. You can either download it to your desktop and read it that way, or you can buy the paperback and hold it in your hands and read it. And price for that will be about $20.
Excellent. Well, I'm really excited. I plan on getting both of them, and I think you should at least. I think everybody should get one of them. The ebook. I mean, you can't get less expensive for more
Oh,
for
and
more value.
I mean, and you can order it and have it basically delivered on the spot. As soon as you pay for it and order it, it's immediately shipped to your desktop, and you can start reading. So you don't have to wait for shipping or anything. So it's the advantage of the ebook. It's
Perfect.
cheaper and it's quicker.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you guys. That's it for this episode. We'll talk to you next time, Dr. Weinhold. Bye for now. For more information, please visit the Colorado Institute for Conflict Resolution and Creative Leadership at CICRCL.org or click the link in the show notes.